Joe Ducard here, and I had a quick tip for you to help improve your storytelling, your delivery, and the way that you speak and how you portray yourself, not only to women, but to people in general, and how to be more confident as a speaker and sharing things about yourself. So just recently in my Facebook group, I had a guy ask, he said, you know, when he's out with women and he's talking, he isn't necessarily very comfortable sharing things about himself and talking about his passions and his interests. And he finds that he's a little stifled and doesn't really come off that well when he's talking about these things. So I thought, okay, the first piece of advice I said was, well, you have to do it more and you have to share more and get in these interactions, right? And you'll get more comfortable with it. That's definitely obvious advice. But one thing hit me was actually a lesson I learned years ago. And this little tip, this little trick is something that I definitely suggest you guys doing. And the trick is exactly what I'm doing right here, right now. I think that everybody who's trying to improve their deliverability and their storytelling, they should film themselves telling stories. They should film themselves talking about things that they're going to be talking about, whether that is, whether that's on a date and talking about yourself there, whether it's a presentation for work, or whether it's even if you're doing stand-up comedy or anything like that. Anytime that you want to get more comfortable delivering something and talking to other people, one of the best ways that you can do it with a little bit of pressure, but really not any external pressure, is by recording yourself, by talking on video. And when you do, you'll play it back and you can look at it objectively and see what you look like. So let me tell a story real quick about when I was back in college. So back in the Jurassic era, when I was in college, we had a public speaking course, and I was about 18, 19 years old. I was very shy, very introverted, and super nervous about this course. And true story, I remember after our first day of the course, I just told myself, you know what, I'm gonna go to the school counselor, I'm going to switch this to another class. I don't need these credits. I could take something that's easier. I don't need to get in front of people and do the talking. And I was actually so nervous about speaking in front of people that I was going to change my course. I was going to change the class, maybe even lose the money that I paid for the course and just take a different one because I was that nervous. But as I was thinking about that, this is when I just started listening to Tony Robbins and the self-development stuff. I started to think about identity, and that if I had walked away from the class at that moment, then I was going to build the habit of giving in whenever I was fearful. And in that moment, I started to develop a habit that completely changed my life. And this is a topic for another video, but the habit was the habit of whenever I feel nervous or afraid of doing something, to do it anyway, despite how I feel, to have some courage and go after the things that make me fearful. And what I found, as you'll see when I tell the rest of the story, was anytime I did something that I was nervous about, but I had some courage and did it anyway, the reward on the other end was massive, and I always became a better person for it. And that was a huge lesson that I learned. So definitely take that with you. That's definitely a golden rule and a golden philosophy of mine that I've learned. But back to the story. So I wound up, having some courage, staying in the class. And what they did was they filmed us. It was their idea. They said, we're going to film your speech and give you a CD and play it back to you. So I did my first speech. Another quick lesson I learned was that we had a order of who could go on the board, right? So from let's say there's 20 people in the class. So from 1 to 20, you got to run up to the board and write down which number you wanted to go and deliver your speech in the next class. And then one thing I saw was that nobody wanted to go first, okay? Some people went second, a lot of people went last. Everybody wrote last on the board. It was all filled up towards the end, but nobody wanted to pick first. So what happened was I started to run up to the board every week, because we gave speeches every week, and I would write my name first because I wanted to go first. And people would look at me like I was crazy. Why did this guy want to give his speech first, right? You want to go dead last. Everybody's dreading it, so they want to put it off as long as possible. So I wrote my name on the board, and after a few weeks, I remember a girl saying to me, why do you always come up here and go first? Like, who wants to go first? What, do you enjoy doing this? I said, I actually hate doing this, okay? And I feel very nervous about it. But I found that when I go first, I'm done with it, and I could chill and relax rather than being last, watching everybody go and just being nervous the whole class. And sometimes it would go to another class. So now I'm nervous a whole nother week thinking about giving the speech. So I found it was best to take the action, get it over with, and jump in head first, like jumping into a cold pool of water, right? And then the girl kind of had a light bulb moment, and then some people started competing for my first spot. But back to the story. I delivered that first speech and we tape recorded it, okay? And they gave it to us actually on a little CD. I went home, I popped this CD in, and I said, all right, let me watch my speech. Now, what I did is what like a lot of people do, is they think that they're a lot better than they are. So I had made the speech after I felt okay about it, and as I started to put the DVD into the CD-ROM, I know these are very old terms, you know, DVDs and CD-ROMs, but as I put that in and I started to watch the tape, I was thinking, like I said, confidently that I did a great job. But immediately when I started watching it, I was shocked at how terrible I was. I was so quiet. I didn't speak up at all. I talked very monotone. I was looking at my paper the whole time and I was just going through my speech, and I did it, and I looked like I wanted to die. I looked like I did not want to be there, and I looked like I was in physical pain, because I actually was in physical pain delivering that speech. And after watching that, I was so disgusted with the speech that I said, I have to take another point of view when it comes to this. And I immediately thought, okay, this was painful for me to watch at home. Imagine how painful this was for the people in class to watch. So I took a new mindset and I said to myself, all right, what type of speech would I want to hear if I was sitting out in the class and someone else was talking? I would want to hear a speech that was entertaining. I would want to hear a speech that had some humor. I would want to see a speech from somebody who was into it, who was having fun. I want to see a speech from somebody who includes me, right? And makes me feel included in it. So I thought of all these things that would elicit a good speech from a viewer's perspective, right? So I said, okay, golden rule, I can't change other people's speeches, but I could damn sure treat others how I would like to be treated. So let me go up there, let me entertain these people, let me give them the type of speech that I would love to see, okay? Maybe you've seen from my other videos, I'm a big Kiss fan, a fan of the rock band Kiss. And they created their band by saying, we became the band that we never saw. They became the band that they wanted to see, but that they never saw. That was their whole motto with how they created the face paint and the crazy show, and really were revolutionary with their live performances because they did the things that they wanted to see as fans. So I took that mindset into the speeches, and I'll tell you what, my next speech, I rocked it. I enjoyed myself. I used some humor into it. I remember calling out different people. I remember I would say something, I'd ask a little question, I'd point to a kid in the crowd, and the kid was like so shocked, like, oh my gosh, like, I think he was half asleep and had to wake up just to engage me and answer the question, right? And I had really pulled him into the speech. So the point is, it's a great idea to film yourself, to take an objective look and see how you're coming off. And then look at it from the other person's point of view and think, how would I like to be interacted with, right? How would I like to feel when I'm in this interaction with somebody else? And that's how I treat, at least that's how I try to treat all of my relationships and pretty much all of my interactions. There's times definitely where I fudge up and I'm tired or in a bad mood, but I try to treat all my interactions how I would like to be treated. I would like to be with somebody who listens to me, someone who has some enthusiasm, someone who's positive, who's funny, you know, who gives me attention and just really has a good delivery and is entertaining, right? That is definitely what I would look for and something that I enjoy and the type of person that I like to converse with. So long story short, I want you to take some time to try to deliver things about yourself, you know, maybe where you're from or what you do, and these topics that come up a lot. Take some time, deliver it on camera, and then see how you come off. Look at it objectively, then try it again. Try to make some improvements. Add in some hand gestures, add in some smiling, add in, you know, some lower tonality, and maybe slow down how you talk. And then maybe speed up how you talk. Maybe talk with some emphasis. Maybe try different ways of delivering that are definitely outside of your comfort zone until you find something that works for you, that's entertaining, and is what you would like to see in your interactions. Joe Ducard here. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you have any other topics or videos and things you would like to hear more about, comment below. I'm always open to suggestions.